Okay, so what does it mean to fully love yourself?
I think it's different for everybody, their definition of self-love, but I think, when you really love yourself, you put your needs, your wants, your goals, your priorities, you kind of put them first before other people, things, their opinions of you.
Yeah.
I feel like when people start to get their self-worth from external sources and try to get validation,
It gets dangerous.
that's where you get problems.
Yeah. Actually, you know what's funny? I actually heard it was a conversation, or maybe it was like another podcast, but somebody said that if you don't want to get impacted by like other people having negative opinions on you, like if you don't want to get to a place where like it hurts you when people are calling you ugly, or you also can't be in a place where you're super excited when people are praising you. Right. You have to take the love and the hate the same level.
Right.
You have to give it the same weight and the same worth.
Yeah.
And you can't let that kind of like interfere with your own version of yourself.
Right.
Which is kind of weird. It's a weird concept, right? Because we all like praise, and we all feel like this outside validation does like prove that we are worthy, you know what I mean? Or we are worth something. And then as soon as we hear something negative, it's like, oh, I knew it. It's like you're feeding your own, like this own demon.
Right.
Which gets harder. So it is like how, like, cause I feel like as we grow up, we always hear love yourself and put yourself first, right?
Right.
What does that mean? Like what are the actions that you would take to prove that you're loving yourself?
Right. I think for me personally, loving myself means knowing that I deserve the best.
Right.
So, whether it's a relationship, friendships, career, whatever it is, if I'm not happy, or if I feel like, I'm not getting the best from the output that I'm putting out there, then I'm not truly loving myself. I'm not getting what I feel like I deserve. And that to me is kind of my baseline in terms of self-love. Like, am I really getting the best of the best? Like, I know I deserve the best. And if I'm not getting that, if I'm, if I'm just allowing other people to influence me, or if I'm not, feeling fulfilled or satisfied in something, if I'm sacrificing something for some other purpose or someone else, and I just feel like I'm lacking.
But sacrificing, let's touch on that.
Yeah.
What? Because I feel like sacrifices are, in some situations, you do need to make sacrifices.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then, how would you determine what a healthy sacrifice is, right? Actually, which is cool about this is because I was also having like a little meta thought earlier today, where as you're with people or you're around people, you're growing and you're changing, right?
Right.
At what point are you changing for the better or changing for somebody else? So when you're making the sacrifice, right? What are sacrifices? Like, these sacrifices have to line up with sacrifices that you're okay with doing because it's for your better good, kind of.
I feel like as long as it's not compromising who you are and what you believe in. Sacrifice, like you said, it's a part of life. It's whether in a relationship or job, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to do things that maybe you don't want to do,
but so long as the sacrifices are made to get you towards your goal, right?
Of course.
Or your end goal for yourself is.
Yes.
Right, like, this is what it is. This is how I see myself in the future. These are the sacrifices that need to be made. And if all of the sacrifices that everybody else is kind of essentially forcing me to make, if it aligns with what needs to be made.
Exactly.
Right.
Precept for the better good, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where you can make healthy sacrifices. But when you start to do things and it's taking from you, taking from your energy, maybe doesn't feel good for you to do it, that's when okay, this might be a little bit too much that I'm giving, or I need to kind of take a step back and reevaluate if I'm doing too much.
Right.
And I even think like with career, with job, I've been guilty of that where,
oh, you for sure.
I'm horrible with that. Like, I'm crazy about it because
Yeah.
I'm a little bit extreme when it comes to my job, which is why I'm in the type of industry that I'm in.
Yeah.
But I will go full force into something, and I will sacrifice, even after work, I'll bring that stress and that, pressure home with me, and it'll affect other things. And that's when I kind of realize, all right, it's one thing to work hard,
right,
and one thing to give something your all and do the work, but at what point is it now detrimental to other aspects of my life?
Right.
And
do you have like a nighttime routine that you do for yourself?
I did, It's different. I mean, it's kind of changed. Before, I would kind of come home, I would light my candles, my incense, I'd wind down, maybe
Yeah.
put on a show or whatever it might be, listen to a podcast or a book or something like that. But what I have to learn to do, and what people kind of have to do with anything in their life, is kind of create a little bit of separation and learn when to cut something off when it starts to become a little bit overwhelming or, like I said, detrimental to just your mental health, your emotional health. When you realize, like, you know, when I'm going into work, or if I'm, you know, doing something with a friend or in a relationship, and you feel like, oh my God, like, you know, once you start to get to that point, that's when you know, okay, I need to just take a break or step back or reevaluate, like, what am I doing wrong here?
Yeah,
Maybe I'm letting
actually,
this take over.
I love that you just brought that up. So, oh God, I'm like, I'm gonna bring up something else that I read. It's okay.
There's so many things going on in my mind. I'm like, oh, there's so many
no,
ideas.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So, I actually bring this up a lot because I'm noticing it more. Like after I read this article, I'm seeing it. And just now you said, like, when I have to go out with somebody, I'm like, ugh, right? Like that dread feeling.
Yes.
So this article was, some guy did like a study on police officers. Don't quote me on any of this. I'm paraphrasing it. I read it a very long time ago.
Right.
But so he did this study on police officers, and he saw everybody in their workspace and interviewed them. How many people in here, right, your coworkers, do you know is like a hard yes and a hard no? Meaning this: if this person calls me, 100%, not even in doubt, I'm gonna pick up the phone. You know what I mean? If this person invites me to dinner, I'm gonna go. You know, like you enjoy the energy and the exchange, you have a great time.
Yes.
Then you have somebody that's a hard no, and you're like, I do not like sharing energy with this person. I don't like this exchange. I'm going to cut this person off completely. Then you have those in between people where they call you and you look at it and you go, do I want to? You know, that feeling,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He said that people that have more of that versus the hard yes and the hard no were depressed like 90% out of the year. They were getting sick more often. Like their body was literally responding, right, to the stress.
Yep.
Because you even just sitting for a minute and saying like, do I want to? Do I not want to? You're actually like wasting a lot of like negative energy.
Yes.
And just being in that space. Whereas if you know this person is like, you have a boundary here and you're like, no.
Yes.
You're good. Your energy is clean. They didn't penetrate that wall. I
Right.
know I don't like you. I know I do like you. I know I want to have a conversation with you. I know I don't want to have a conversation with you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then that also is, to wrap it back around, I think that is a form of self-love.
Absolutely. Creating those boundaries, those healthy boundaries.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think that part of that too is protecting your peace and protecting your energy.
Oh my God,
and being
100%.
being super, I mean,
Yeah.
I take that very, very serious because I've gone through experiences where I didn't do that, where I sacrificed, where I gave a little bit too much, where I didn't have any healthy boundaries, and the situations or the people were taking from me. And then I would
Right.
wonder, why am I so tired? Why am I so drained? Why don't I feel like going out to do something
Right,
fun
I
or
have, like,
social?
no ambition.
Yeah. Why am I dragging?
Yeah.
And I never could put together, make the correlation
Yeah.
until I started to really like set those boundaries and protect my peace and energy. And me personally, I'm not apologetic about it. It's something that
No, you can't.
You
be.
can't
You
be.
can't feel guilty about
No.
doing something like that, because at the end of the day, and I think a lot of it too, and it's hard for people to get to that place, is because they actually don't understand the value
right,
in protecting their energy.
absolutely.
Like once you actually understand like how you can change your entire life,
The whole vibe about yourself.
you can literally go. I see it. I watch it. You know, and I see people that are like kind of like mixy or mixing in like the wrong crowds, or still entertaining certain like conversations even with people. These things over time, you know, they have like this compound effect on you, and they kind of tear away, you know, at like your light.
Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
that light is the same energy and power source that you have to fuel you to be like super successful, or, you know, at like the peak of your game. You
Right.
know, if it needs, and I use this expression a lot. I like to think of energy as like a coin jar.
Okay.
And every day you start with a certain amount of coins in your jar. Everybody gets the same amount of coins.
Yep.
But as you go throughout the day, right, the conversations you're having with people, the activities that you're performing, if anything that you're doing can either take money out of that coin jar or it can put money into the coin jar.
Right.
Right. So like meditation would be something that would be adding more coins to your jar.
Mhm.
Getting into an argument with somebody would take a quarter or 3/4 out of your jar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So by
Right.
the end of the day, where's your jar?
Exactly.
So once you start thinking about it as like money value, it's like, do I want to give you this money?
Yeah.
Or do I want to like collect it?
You got to think, and I'm glad you said that. You got to think of your energy and your time as currency.
Yes.
You just throw it around just wherever. No, you're gonna budget, you're going to allocate certain
Yep,
funds, certain places,
100%,
right?
yeah.
You're not just giving it to anybody, right?
Nope.
So you have to think of your life and your energy and your time
Yes.
as money.
Yeah.
And who you're giving it to and what kind of ROI are you getting on that, really.
Yeah.
And it's not, people that really love you and that care about you will understand that. They're not going to be mad because, you know, you said no to something because
Right,
you
yeah.
wanted to maybe, you know, maybe.
I mean, some people will, but then
Some-
that's something you need to address. Like, you need to sit down and be like, and then also, too, I think that's a fear, right? When you're like, oh, I don't want to say no to this person because I don't want them to, like, not like me.
Right.
Or, you know, make me feel bad about it, or then I'm going to feel like I'm letting them down if I don't do this. But if it doesn't
Right.
make you happy,
Right.
But then, so I feel like that's also a thin line, too.
Right. Well, it's also, for me at least, 99% of the time, it's not personal to that person.
Yeah, it's me either. I'm like such a loner. It's
Yeah, no, I like my alone time. I like my just downtime.
Mhm.
So just because I don't want to go to dinner, you know, on a Friday night because I'm just kind of not feeling it, doesn't mean I don't want to spend time with you. Doesn't mean I don't
Mhm.
like you. Doesn't
Mhm.
mean that it's just, you know, maybe I had a rough day. Maybe my mind is a little bit spent, and I need to, for my peace,
Mhm.
I need to kind of wind down and kind of chill out.
Yeah,
Now
you're
there is a fine line where you don't want to do that so much where now you're completely isolating yourself from people and
Mhm.
never going out and never doing anything.
Yeah.
But it's that balance, and I feel like the more you understand yourself
Mhm.
and your boundaries and you learn that balance, you can still be happy, protect your peace, but still enjoy your life and still be happy and all of that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it's just important for people to learn those boundaries too, because I mean, I know people that don't understand that concept, and it sometimes can physically affect you. You start to
Well,
get
100%,
sick,
yeah.
you start to, you know, start developing all these different problems, and,
Uh-huh.
and you wonder why. And that constant stress on your body and on your mind is not going to be healthy. It's not going to allow you to, you know, go accomplish whatever goals that you have or
No,
advance
it's
in your life.
impossible.
It's
Yeah.
impossible. Like, you
Can't
really
do that.
have to, like we're saying, look at your energy and your time, love yourself enough to be like, no, this doesn't work for me, or no, this is not going to benefit me right now. I
Mhm.
know what I need. I need to just kind of be to myself, recharge, and then I'll be ready to do whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, but it's important, and as you get older, that has to be your priority, and
Mhm.
you have to do the work and put in the action to get to where you want to be. And you
Right.
can't let distractions or other people and maybe, you know, their thoughts on, you know, how come she doesn't want to come out, or why doesn't
Yeah.
she want to do this? It's like, okay, you can think that, but if you really are my friend, or if
Yeah.
you really care, you'll know that it's not personal. It's just I gotta focus on me.
If the fear is coming from the fact that they're no longer going to want to be like in your life or around you, you know what I'm saying?
Then they're not your friend.
Number one,
Mm-hmm.
or you know what I'm saying? And number two, that also kind of like brings back the, well, why does this bother you? You know,
Right.
if this person doesn't like look at you and go, well, like this, you know, they need this for their personal space or their growth. So that means that they're not good enough to hang out with me, and I don't want to be around them. You know, like if you really think about it, so you shouldn't actually care if people are like kind of like in and out of your life. It comes
Right.
with you kind of just being solid in yourself and like looking at yourself and going, yo, I am an amazing person.
Right.
You know, if you don't see the value in that, then that doesn't mean I'm not amazing. I'm not amazing to you.
Exactly, and that's okay.
Yes,
Like,
and I feel like people are like, they're so focused on being amazing to everybody, and it's like, you can't do that.
there's such a, I'm glad you're talking about this, because I feel like, no, but people, even when it comes to Instagram,
Oh God.
when it comes to whatever, this is a whole other, so I'm gonna take a little sip of this coffee.
Yeah.
No, but it's,
Actually, yes.
yeah, let me get a little bit of this. People care too much about what other people think. People
Yeah.
don't do things for themselves and just live their life. They're so,
I feel like it's an ego thing too.
yeah, they have
You
to
know?
definitely put their ego in check.
And it's like, it's crazy, right? Because it is like, what are you run by? Are you run by ego? Are you run by pride? Like, what are your main, you know? And I feel like that kind of too like comes back to like the whole, you post a picture, it doesn't get a certain amount of likes, and all of a sudden you feel like, oh God, like I'm garbage.
Right.
You know, and that goes back to like saying like, you feel like that because people's compliments mean so much to you, so their hate means so much to you. If you didn't care about somebody saying, oh my God, you're beautiful today, like, and that's like a really hard phrase to get like into somebody's head, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
in order for you not to be bothered by that, you cannot be gassed,
Mhm.
right? On the other end, like you can't let people just come by and like 100 people say, oh my God, you're so beautiful today. Now all of a sudden you have this airy feeling about you. That
Right.
feeling, you should have it regardless.
Right.
How do you tap into this, you know what I'm saying? Because that's really the only way that you're gonna stop being like so obsessive about like, you know, how people are like receiving you
Right.
on social media. It's like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to literally walk around and just be like, no, like, in 3D form,
Right.
I'm angelic.
Right. You just need to, it's funny, I kind of joke about this with one of my best friends, and it's something that I kind of came up with, but you gotta think like I'm Beyonce in my head.
Oh, 100%.
Like in my head, I am.
I am Beyonce.
I am Beyonce, yeah, and so when you think like that, or if you think like, would Beyonce give a shit about this? Would she do this? Would she do that? Probably not. And,
No.
And I don't remember the conversation her and I were having where I was like, you gotta think like I'm Beyonce in my head, and I don't know where that came from, but it kind of like puts a switch on.
Yes.
Where you develop your own self-confidence.
I honestly do that with like Michelle Obama. Like,
yeah,
I swear,
yeah.
I take actions and I'll be like, is this something Michelle would do?
Yes, but honestly, those little, I mean, in a way that's kind of like an affirmation in a way.
Okay.
But those little cues that you tell yourself,
Yeah.
really, they sound maybe silly, but
It puts you right back into
it instills that confidence in yourself. And when you have that, you don't let something like an app or some stranger on the street or whatever validate you because, they said you're beautiful. Oh, so I'm beautiful because you said so.
it. Yeah.
Or you like my picture, so that must mean I'm the shit. No,
Yeah.
I'm the shit with or without an Instagram.
Yeah.
Or with or without I'm wearing sweatpants or a dress or whatever. You have to, as a male, female, doesn't matter, instill that kind of confidence in yourself.
Oh, speaking about confidence.
Girl.
Okay, hold on. Because you just brought, so there's something else that it irks me so much.
Yeah.
And I notice people do it a lot, and I think, and I'm not gonna lie, I am guilty of having done this in the past, and I became conscious of it, and then I stopped doing it. So it's a thing that I notice that people do is they will say stuff like, oh my god, I'm so funny, I'm funny, a lot, and then it's just like, just say funny stuff, like don't tell me you're funny, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then it's like, they'll be like, and then it's just like that, like they do those kind of things, and they bring it up a lot, or instead of like saying, like doing something funny, they'll say like, oh, one time I did this and it was a funny thing. Like, don't tell me about the funny thing that you did. You know what
it's
I'm
almost
saying?
like they don't believe it, so they have to tell you.
Yes.
Like when you're naturally funny, when you're naturally whatever, it's just like, you hear this all the time when people that are like really insecure will be those people that maybe are a little loud, outlandish, a little doing too much. Like it's so obvious that you're insecure because you feel the need to get attention any possible way you can. So when you have to tell people that you're funny, people that are naturally funny don't have to say that.
Right.
And again, it just goes back to like knowing yourself too, like knowing who you are. Not everybody can be funny. It's okay if you're not, but if that's your thing, you shouldn't have to like
say
it and put it out there. It's just people don't know themselves and they want to be too much like this person, that person. They're trying to fit into these different molds that society puts out there, and it's like, just be yourself. Be yourself.
You know what though? So people don't know themselves, right? And I think this is such a funny thing because I feel like there's a lot of stress on that too. Right. And people are like, oh, I like, do you know who you are? Like, who are you? What are your values? What are your cores? Like, right? But you don't actually realize that who you are is not, who you are is like ever changing.
Yes.
So it's okay to, like, I feel like when if somebody's at a point where they're lost and like, I don't know who I am, I think you need to sit down and determine core values for yourself. Yes. Right? Do you want to be a person with integrity? Decide that. Do you want to be a person with honesty? Decide that, right? And then move in that. Be like, is this an honest action? Right. You know, and literally move in that. It's okay if you weren't honest before. It's okay if you were disloyal before, or you were, a shitty person before, right? Who do you want to be now? Right. Step within those actions. Decide, all of these actions, like what is honor? What is, like, all of these things. Lay down core values for yourself, and then everything else around you is okay to change. Right. As long as your core, as long as you find out what the core is that you want, it's okay to build yourself, right? People are so like, oh, you're not that, it's not that you're born who you are and that's it. Right. At some part of you is always going to be you,
of course,
but it's okay to, I think people freak out about it because they're like, I haven't found myself yet. You're not finding yourself, you're creating yourself, right? And who you are is always going to be a sum of conversations you're having, experiences that you're having, memories that you're collecting. Exactly. So you're always going to be a sum of a whole bunch of things that are around you. So that's why it's so important, right, to be around people that are not going to be draining your energy. Right. And people that you're looking at and you're like, I can take away from this person, and I feel like this person would feed to be who I would love to be.
To help you grow.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So it's not. I feel like a lot of people get freaked out about it, because I remember I used to, right, especially in high school. I was like, I remember I was having a conversation with some girl, and she was like, I know who I am, and she kind of like walked off. I don't remember what the conversation was. It was like very profound, right? And I was like, shit, You know what I
Right.
mean? And I like went home and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, what are you? You know?
Right.
And then it was just kind of like building it, and then always feeling not confident because it was like, can other people see
Right.
that I'm in a work in progress? Can
Right.
you see that I'm not a full thing? But
Right.
and really they can't. They
Right.
don't know. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Unless like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you can't.
The thing is, everybody is a work in progress, and like you said, it's not like you find yourself on January 17th. Oh, I found myself finally.
Right.
You're,
Yeah. No.
you're always shaped by your experiences, things that you go through.
Mhm.
You know, like you said, you have your core traits about who you are,
Mhm.
but things that you deal with, whether it's, you know, bad relationships, meeting new people, career changes,
Mhm.
I don't know, like things happen in life that shape you. You're like
Mhm.
Play-Doh, like you're constantly being
Mhm.
formed and shaped.
Yeah, you're super malleable and
Exactly, and every stage of your life you're going to be, but who you are to your core
Right, yeah.
should remain the same. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
changing that for other people or in different circumstances.
No.
And again, like I was saying before, people that really love you and care about you will appreciate that growth, and
Mhm.
but some people might not. Sometimes you might outgrow people because they
Mhm.
see you changing and growing, and maybe
And
that
they're
version of you,
stagnant, and-
and they're stagnant, and that version of you maybe it doesn't coincide with them anymore, it doesn't
Yeah.
fit them anymore,
Yeah.
fit their agenda, and they have a problem with it.
And that's okay.
And that's okay to outgrow people.
Yeah.
I've had friends for many, many, many years, and
Mhm.
then we just kind of go our separate ways because we're on different journeys and different paths, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's no disrespect, it's no
Mhm.
like animosity, it's just,
Mhm.
hey, I'm into this now, you're into that, our lives, our lifestyles, but, you know, if you're, I'm actually glad that we're talking about this because I was talking about this with someone the other day, it's, you know, your friends are if they're your real friends,
Yeah.
like I said, they will understand and appreciate your
Mhm,
transformation and your growth, and vice versa, right? But if you're gonna allow somebody to, you know, if someone's changing and you're not there for it, you're not for it,
Mhm.
and then was that person actually your friend?
Right, yeah.
Were they really there for you? Do they really
Mhm.
care? So, you know, it's just
And actually talking about friends, I got a little question.
oh, what's up?
So this is okay.
Okay,
I'm gonna ask you a real question.
be real.
I want your real opinion.
Always.
Do you think that opposite sex, men and women, can genuinely be friends?
Yeah.
Like 100%.
I think so. I say this because I have male friends.
I have like one. and you know what? I had to think back, and the reason I bring this up is this. Well,
Right.
I have two. I have two solid male friends, right? That there's never, you know what I'm saying, been
Right.
any like weird. Both of them are in relationships, have been in relationships for a very long time, and they
Right.
both have kids.
Right.
So we grew up together and knew each other since we were like very, very young.
Right.
And then I had to think about it. Every male friend that I had after,
Right.
if given the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
would cross the line. So is that a genuine friend?
That's a good question.
Is it a friend as soon as they like? I feel like as soon as you hit that I'm sexually attracted to this person and I can
Right.
like declothe this person.
Right.
Are you my friend because of this, right? Or are you sticking around because realistically, there's like guys in my life that I have. I hate to use the term friend zone. They're friend zoned, right? You're in this area where we have this respect for each other.
Right.
You know, I would never take it that way, but if I did,
Right.
it would 100% be okay.
You
and
could do it, yeah.
and I feel like they're honestly sticking around for that. Like I have friends that don't even check, but you're my friend.
Right.
But I haven't heard from you in months.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you
Right.
only pop in every once in a while, and then it's always like these little subtle jabs because you know, and you know what it is.
Right.
You know, so is there really a genuine friendship there?
I think there can be, but I think, you know, men are men. Let's just be real, right? So
you have no faith.
at the end of the day,
Just you guys are not doing good.
right. At the end of the day, if you were like, hey, you know, I have this idea, they're probably gonna do it because they're a guy. But I think that let's just take the gender out of it. If you have somebody that's only checking on you here and there, and when it's convenient for them, or if they want something from you, is that person just a friend? Period. Whether it's a male or female, no. In my opinion, no. But I have some male friends. I mean, I don't hang out with them all the time. I don't, you know, talk to them all the time. But we're cool. We have an understanding. There's a respect. You know, I've given them advice. They've given me advice. They genuinely care how I'm doing in my life, and I care about, you know, their goals and how's, you know, how's school going or this or that.
Right, yeah.
I think the line is, you know, It's really hard because it can kind of, I mean, I can kind of see both sides of yes and no. You can be genuine friends. I think that it's one thing to find somebody attractive, like you're an attractive person, you're a good looking person.
And then somebody you're attracted to.
Exactly, and someone you're attracted to. I think if you have a male friend who thinks you're an attractive person, you're a good looking girl, you take care of yourself, that's one thing, right? As long as they're not acting on it or putting you in a situation where it's kind of uncomfortable. But if they're acting on it, if they're attracted to you and they have other intentions, or you kind of notice them looking you like a certain way, looking you up and down or whatever, maybe they're hyping up your pictures a little too much, then that's
not a friend.
Then that's where you're like, okay, maybe I gotta draw a harder boundary here because you know you don't want to run into any problems. But I think that you can be friends. I don't think that like I said, I think men are men. At the end of the day, if they really want to, it's an interesting topic. I mean, it's I know a lot of my guy friends that have girlfriends, and there's nothing. There's no attraction, nothing. It's just friendships, but it's hard. I think
I definitely do think this is one of those things that
it's a case by case basis.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Word for word, I definitely think it's one of those things that's case by case. Like, you would have to really play it by ear. You would also have to be solid in the way you set your boundary.
Exactly.
You know, be very clear with it.
Exactly.
And then if that person decides to respect it, you know, and not push it any further, then I guess so. Lord, I guess so. But it is definitely interesting because I was thinking about it and I was like, I wonder if my guy friends are friends. You know, I had to really think about it the other day. I don't know why, but
I think too, like it's like a different type of friendship.
I mean,
it's like when I have I have a very small circle, but like my homegirls, it's I'll hang out with them, I'll do things, we'll talk on the phone, we'll do this type of stuff, right? But with a guy, I'm not doing certain things with them. It's more so, we might joke about things, send memes, we might give each other advice about stuff, whatever. But it's like a certain type of, it's just a certain type of friendship, a certain type of, like, this is what I get from you and that's all I need from you type thing. Like, in terms of, I don't need to, how do I put it? Like, I'm just, in my head I'm thinking of a couple guy friends that I have that, I talk about, like, my job or, life or whatever with, my bad. But that's it. But that's it.
It doesn't go further than that.
It doesn't go further than that. They're not so involved in my life. I don't share everything with them. It's just it's just like when you have certain friends, like, okay, if I want to go clubbing, I'm gonna go to this girl because she likes to go out.
Yes.
If I actually want to have an intellectual conversation, I'm gonna talk to this person. If I want to talk about career, this is the person that I go to. It's the same thing like with male friendships, I feel, know? But for me, I mean, it's just a different type of friendship. I feel like my guy friends, I don't have to talk to them every single day. I might talk to them once every few months or something. Hey, you good, whatever, but that's it. Yeah. So I don't give any type of leeway to insinuate or to even lead on that there's going to be, like, anything more than just a friendship.
You keep the gap.
Yeah.
Gapped.
I keep my boundaries, like
there's no bend in my elbow.
Right, I keep you at arm's length and that's it. We're cool.
Yeah.
Because I do think that it's important for, like, one thing for me that has helped me
This is like eating my ear cuff. Okay.
I do think it's important to have some level of a friendship or dialogue with, like, opposite sex.
Actually,
because
I'm so glad this is happening. I'm so glad this is happening because I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah.
But I definitely have a very interesting segue topic for this. Okay.
I feel like I've learned so much about men and how to communicate with them or learn about
the realm of the primal.
Right. So, because I've learned a lot from guys. Like me, I grew up with 2 older brothers, a very strong male figure father who was a big part of my life. So I'm used to being around male energy and learning how they maneuver and dealing with their certain just ways that they are, right? So I feel like you can benefit, or I've benefited at least, by learning, I may not, as a woman, I may not understand something or understand a male's perspective, but if I can talk to so-and-so and they can help me realize, well, nah, like, you're tripping, or, nah, he don't mean it like that. Like, sometimes...
So long as you're willing to stay open-minded, too.
Exactly.
And then you can try to see through the other lens.
Exactly, and I feel like I've done that, which is why at this point in my life, I feel like I can be very neutral when it comes to a male's perspective and a female's perspective on any given topic. I don't sit here, just because I'm a woman, I'm not going to be like, nope, the woman's always right. Because we're not. There's many times that we fuck up or we think the wrong way,
Yes.
or we're way too in our feelings or way too in our
Uh-huh.
emotions, and we don't use logic, or we
Mhm.
don't just
Can I
see
tell
where
you
we
though,
fuck up.
like secretly that's like a little pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
Because I see it a lot too, right? Because I feel like me and you are very similar in that manner where we won't just react off of the emotion. We'll
Mhm.
try to process what it is exactly that we're feeling,
Mhm.
right? And then
Yep.
and then decide like, is this worth acting on? And I
Yes.
see it because I've become more emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
I see it so much.
Right.
I see the like girls that are just like,
And this
and I'm just like,
yeah, no, and it's just too much, and I just feel like, I don't want to say, I'm not bashing.
No,
women or
not at
nothing,
all.
But I just feel like women, we are naturally more emotional. We
I
tend
can
to
definitely
lead.
see. Yeah, I can see where. You know what though? Actually, oh God, girl, no, I'm gonna argue with you now.
Oh boy, hold on.
I don't think necessarily that women are more emotional.
Okay.
I think women react to their emotions more.
Right.
So I think that's like I feel like that's a big difference
Okay.
because I've noticed me personally in every relationship I've ever been in,
Mhm.
I've been the least emotional one.
Got it.
But that's because I sit down and I'm like, what's happening? You
Right.
know? Whereas, and I feel like guys, their main emotion and don't kill me. I feel like the main emotion that they express the most is just like, stereotypically, it's just like rage, right, or anger, or whatever, like this upset feeling because they
Mhm.
haven't fully. I don't believe that men were allowed to have a space to safely process feelings, right? And I feel like a lot of times they get like, they get like backlash a lot, right? So
Mhm.
they keep it in. That's not healthy,
Right.
right? Where women were like, oh, cry it out, or you know what I'm saying? Or like you talk with your girls and you're like blah blah blah. I mean, obviously now times have definitely changed. I mean,
Right.
before though it was very much like that. I
Right.
think. So I think women, we were much more okay with going through all of these emotions because
Right.
we were told it was a woman thing. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And then men were kind of like, what do we do with this? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I don't know what to do with this.
I think you're right. I think in some cases, yes, some guys don't know how to understand or process what they're feeling or thinking.
Right.
But I also think there's some guys out there that know exactly what they want and feel.
Well,
and
nowadays,
they just,
for sure, you're seeing all these self-aware, self-woke
Yeah.
men, and I'm just loving this
but it's
energy.
just more so. I feel guys are just so. What I've learned a lot is guys are just more direct.
Yeah.
And if they don't like something, they just tell you.
Right.
Some
As they
guys,
should.
some don't.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I think some women, they might feel some type of way, and because they feel that way about a situation, they let that kind of take over instead of taking a minute to sit and process.
Mhm.
Hold on a second, am I tripping? Let me
Mhm.
really think about this.
Right. Yeah.
Why is this bothering me?
Mhm.
Is this worth kind of bringing up?
Right.
And then bringing it up, like, or they want to say that how they
Right. Is it worth bringing it up? Choose your battles.
right. And it's
Right.
also there's just certain things that, like opinions that they may have that are very one-sided, where they're
Right.
not understanding. Okay, you think this particular way about a scenario,
Mhm.
but do you see what you do to
Mhm.
create that problem?
Right.
I've had to learn that in my past, where there was many times that I was the problem.
Mhm.
I'm thinking this person's acting a certain type of way, but really, I could have removed myself from the situation.
Mhm, mhm.
Really, I could have acted a different way, and I might have been the reason that it blew up or whatever
Right,
the case
yeah.
is, right? But a lot of women will say, no, he's an asshole, he's a jerk, it's him, but what are you doing
Right.
yourself
Yeah.
in that situation? And I'm not saying every situation, I'm not saying every woman, I'm just saying there are definitely examples
Mhm.
that we could lay out where, I feel like people in general need to be a little bit more understanding of kind of both sides, and before they have their opinion, try to like understand and be open-minded. I posted this the other day about I forget exactly what it said, but just people, if they actually like admitted their mistakes, would
Mhm.
actually learn a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
for
when
sure.
you think you're never wrong, if
Yeah.
you think this is my opinion and this is fact,
Yeah.
and you don't want to hear what the other person or other party has to say,
Yeah.
how are you going to learn and grow and actually
No, you can't.
learn? You
Yeah.
can't. And that's a problem that both men and women have
Right.
at times, right? So I think just people need to be more open-minded, and instead of it being an argument or you're right and I'm
Because
wrong,
that's like
just-
a pride thing too,
it's
right?
it is a pride thing, but it's also based off of a lot of people's opinions are based off of experiences,
Mhm.
kind of where they came from, their background, maybe whatever.
Mhm.
And as long as you understand that, okay, I might think this way about a certain topic,
Mhm.
you might think differently, but because of your experience that you've had,
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
Right.
I'm not right necessarily, but
Right.
I'm going to sit here and listen to you and try to understand where that came from.
Yeah.
I don't have to agree with you,
Yeah.
but okay, I can see how you
How you
think
got there? Like,
Right.
what was your thought process?
I can
initially
see
there?
it exactly,
Yeah.
and I just don't feel like a lot of people do that, and that's what creates. Oh my God, that's what creates such a problem.
Throws mic.
Sorry, that's what creates a problem with a lot of friendships, relationships, whatever it may be. So,
no, I agree with you.
It's just that emotional maturity and intelligence to understand a situation and kind of look at it for what it is and realize when you're in the wrong, or if you're making a mistake, or if you're, looking at it the wrong way, and being able to admit it, take accountability and own it.
Yeah, for sure. A key takeaway, right, if you're in a place where you're not emotionally mature, the best way to get yourself there is just to ask questions, right? Like, as soon as you, somebody will do something, or somebody will have an action, and you'll feel like you feel like the physical sensations of like jealousy or rage, you know what I mean? So like your chest is tightening up, and you're like, why is this happening? You know? And then instead of just like acting on it, like if you're like a jealous person and your partner's like going out to like a party or something without you, and you're like getting upset, you know? Why? There's an underlying fear behind it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be you just don't like people that go out to parties, which is me. I don't like people that go out to parties. I don't party. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's not that, like, there's deeper issues, you know, in most cases, right? Where some people will be like, well, what is the fear? Like, what are you afraid of while they're at this party? Is it that you don't trust the person you're with?
Right.
Do they give you a reason not to trust them?
Right.
Is this your own thing that you're projecting onto them?
Exactly.
Right, so as soon as you start, like, digging into it, and then you start, like, asking yourself, like, because there's always like a domino effect of questions that follow every single emotion that you're having, and then the quicker you can get to the root of them, the quicker you can kind of solve, you know, what all of this is. Like, actually, no, because hold on.
She said, actually, no, let me backtrack.
Yeah, let me backtrack, way backtrack, because we were talking about friends.
Yes.
And I wanted to bring something up. Yeah. So we're going to snip this one right here.
Done.
And then we're going to rewind this.
Gotcha.
15 minutes. When we're talking about friends and then having guys or girls or whatever.
Yep.
Friends, blah, blah, blah. I was listening to another podcast, which I'll probably just like shout out or put like the snippet.
Yeah.
And then so like, you know, we can get credit too.
Yeah.
There was a conversation happening, and one of the guys is in a relationship and says that he doesn't hang out with single people. He's in a relationship, he doesn't hang out with people that are not in relationships. You said the reason this kind of triggered like a thought for me was because you made a comment about saying how it's good to get the opposite sex's opinion on certain topics or whatever, and I think they were talking about it because at some point he was like, well, you know, I have a girlfriend or fiance or whoever she is, and if I need to ask, you know, a female's opinion, when we go out with like our couple's friends, you know what I'm saying, when we're all in a group, like me and my boyfriend, you and your boyfriend, a third person, their boy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's guys and there's girls, and if I needed to ask a whole bunch of guys like opinions, I could very well just go and ask my boyfriend's friends, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Things of that nature. And I thought it was an interesting concept because I kind of took that conversation and I took it outside, and I was kind of like regurgitating it with somebody else and trying to get their opinion on it, and they asked me, well, at what point does it mean that you're insecure? And I don't actually think that means insecurity, but so for me, I feel like this, and we kind of spoke on this a little bit, but I'm gonna just re-say the whole thing. I don't like to put myself in situations that could potentially cause threat to my relationship. Not saying that there is a threat, but I'm saying, and the expression I use is like, how many times are you gonna put your hand in the fire before you get burned? If I know, you know what I'm saying, that this environment is usually an environment that would cause trauma or, you know, damage or maybe like hostility or friction between me and my partner, I'll just remove myself from it entirely. That way I don't risk it. So is that like an insecure thing, or is that like a respect for the relationship thing? And at what point does it become like kind of like, where's the safety? You know, like what's the safe line for like a healthy?
I feel like it's going to be different for every relationship. Depends on you and your partner. If there's something that you're doing that your partner doesn't like, say it. Communicate about it. Like, you know what, I know you go out a lot, you like to go out every Saturday night and this and that, but it kind of makes me feel, you know, a type of way. If your partner loves you, respects you, then they'll make the adjustment. If, you know, it's
so, but then are they changing for you?
They may be, but it kind of goes back to making some sacrifices, right? And I feel like in a relationship you have to compromise certain things. My perspective is very different than maybe what the norm is. I feel like when you're in a relationship, you're an individual, they're an individual. They shouldn't have to change their whole life and how they are and what they've normally been doing because now they're in a relationship. if I'm getting into this with you, this is a relationship.
Right.
I should be able to trust you. That should go without saying. I shouldn't have to tell you what you should and shouldn't do to make me feel better. That's how I envision a healthy relationship. It's you should automatically have respect for that person. You should automatically trust that person. Whatever. Now, if they want to go and put themselves in situations, I can't sit at home and worry. Oh my God, what are they doing? Could they be talking to someone? Is some girl with a fat ass gonna come and like brush past him? Whatever. I mean, I
like a gnat. Sorry.
No, I can't be so concerned with that because if I'm in a relationship with you, that
but
means.
That's also like an unhealthy space, right? You don't want to constantly be under that like anxiety all the time.
No, and if you are that type of person then you have to reevaluate. Maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship.
Right.
If you have all these issues, or if you have all these, you have some healing to do.
Yeah, you cannot function under stress.
No, and it's not healthy for you. It's not going to go right. So I feel like you actually said something earlier that I wanted to say. When it comes to that particular guy being in a relationship and he doesn't have single friends, in my opinion...
Oh, not that he doesn't have single friends. He doesn't go out with.
He doesn't go out with.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like when you're friends with somebody, what you do on your own time ain't got shit to do with me. So let's just say, for example, if I'm in a relationship and my friend is single and I go out with her all the time, she's going to be talking to guys, she's going to be doing her thing, whatever. So am I not going to now be friends with or go out with her because...
Or maybe you would go out with her, you just wouldn't go out with her. You wouldn't go out with her to like bars, clubs, or parties.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't want to do those things anyways, but let's just say I did. Let's just say I did. If I wanted to...
Then that should be totally cool too.
That's totally fine too. My partner should, trust me, knows me, shouldn't have to worry, oh, well, she's always going out to clubs, I just feel like in a relationship, you should already have that kind of bond and that type of trust with each other. That's why you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then just be single. Like that's just how I see it. But what she does at the club, if she wants to go talk to 5 different guys or whatever, that really doesn't have shit to do with me and my relationship.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm glad you're saying this.
But I get what you're saying where I'm putting myself in situations. If I'm constantly going out Saturday nights and I'm looking all good or whatever, and people are coming up, I get what you're saying. You're kind of putting yourself in a situation to be maybe tempted or whatever that may be.
Right.
But me personally, it's again, knowing yourself, knowing what you want. Like for me, I'm in a relationship for a reason. Why am I going to jeopardize that? If I am allowing myself to be in situations and being influenced by somebody else, or if I am not so solid where I'm at that I can go out to a club and someone talking to me, like giving me attention makes me feel, okay, that means that what I got at home is not what I want.
Right, yeah.
Right?
So, that's interesting too. So, strictly just picking your brain at this point. Okay, so, so for one, like I get 100% what you're saying. So, having the single friend, let's say she loves to go to like the club a lot, right? And just keep running this, right? And she's like an attention whore, right? So she's constantly like having like all these guys around you 24/7. Now it may be that you're 100% secure in yourself in your relationship and you don't care about you know that like you don't but still at the end of the day you don't feel like at some point it's just like you don't need all of these single guys around you that are obviously super horny, super, you know what I mean, because she like that's what they're there for,
right?
Realist, like, and I'm not a club person. I don't like the club mainly for that reason. I don't like a whole bunch of like hot horny people.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? Just bouncing energy around me.
Right.
So like being constantly like in that environment. So like for me personally, I don't do it because it's just like I don't want to keep throwing myself like in the fire. Right. But also because it's kind of annoying. Right. But it doesn't. But I get what you're saying where it's like, oh, I'm so confident in my relationship. But then that also is kind of like then your partner should be confident in themselves, right? Confident in you, have like trust with you. But there's, to be honest, there's people that are in relationships that are madly in love surfacely, right? And then on the inside, they're going through crap, right? They're not expressing with their partners. They're not having that healthy communication, right? Right. So you actually don't ever really know what your partner's thinking.
So whose fault is that though? If they're not having those conversations, right? And kind of what I was saying, if me going out to the club every weekend with my friend bothered my significant other because I was doing it every
you shouldn't be in a relationship with
right.
If you're the type of person that's not you. If X person is the type of person that's always out in the club and that's not your thing anyway. Right. You shouldn't be dating somebody like that. Exactly.
But also if it was a problem and they talk to me about it and if I care and respect for that have respect for that person, then I'm probably not gonna do it. Or I'm like, you know what, I see what you're saying, I'll kind of back off on that. Also, my friend, if my friend respects me and my relationship and
Right,
knows where I
yeah.
stand,
Which is super important.
you're not going to put me in a
that
situation. You're not
yes.
going to, because I also am somebody too, I like to carry myself a certain way.
Yeah.
So if I'm in a relationship, I don't want to be around a bunch of guys at a club.
Same.
I don't want to be in pictures being like, oh yeah, you know, with a
Yeah.
bunch of dudes, knowing that I have a man at home. I don't. I think that's disrespectful to him.
Oh,
you know,
100%. It's
so
embarrassing too.
It
You're
is.
like, no, like,
It
oh,
is.
that's your girl.
It
you know,
is.
Or vice versa. That's your man. This guy with like all these chicks. Like,
Exactly.
nobody-
So I wouldn't. I mean, so if she's the type of person to be an attention whore and always have people around, then I'm probably not going to go to the club with her all the time.
Right.
But if I know it's just me and her going out, we're going to have fun naturally, she's a beautiful person, people are going to come up to her, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I can still have a good time with you, but if I notice, okay, you're bringing me in situations, or when I'm with you,
That's becoming a little too.
I'm always in a situation where I end up with 10 guys around me, and then you're off with one dude, and I'm kind of sitting here.
That's just like, yeah.
Then are you my friend? Are you respecting me in the
Yeah.
fact that I'm in a relationship? This doesn't look good. You know,
No,
even though
yeah.
I'm faithful and whatever,
Yeah.
it doesn't look right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
It's twofold, right? It's on
Right.
both.
Yeah,
It's on
that's
both
the
sides.
hand in the fire, right? It's just
works-
too much happening.
It works both ways.
Yeah, that's actually a really good. That's a really good point you bring up too, because it's like when you're in a relationship with a person, you are kind of indirectly in a relationship with their immediate friend group.
Yep.
Right, because their friends are the ones that are, you know, giving your partner advice.
Yeah.
Their friends are the ones that when they're having issues with you, they're running back and they're like, "What happens?" or "What do I do?"
Mhm.
So you have to be very like careful with their who their besties are.
Yeah.
Also, because it's not just them, right? It's just like, you know, can I trust you to be a good, like, I can trust you to be a good person,
Right.
but can you be swayed by, you know, X, Y, and Z that are always up under you, and
Right.
these people are constantly doing like horrible crap.
Right.
So it's just like, you know,
Mhm.
it sounds weird to say, but it you know, it impacts, and it definitely does take like tear away,
It
like
does.
at you know, the trust. So I'm glad you brought that up. Like,
Yeah.
does your friend respect the relationship? 'Cause
Exactly.
some friends don't.
Some friends don't, or some friends, I don't care. I'm having a good time. You know, that's you. If you have a boyfriend or whatever,
And then they'll
that's
make it
on
worse,
you.
and they'll be like, oh, why, that's controlling. Like, why are they being controlling?
Right.
And it's just like,
exactly.
now it's manipulation a little bit. And
Right.
it's like, what's...
Right. But it even goes way back to what we first started about when we were talking about, you know, if you are growing, like maybe you two were single at the same time.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago you were always out at the clubs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's been 3 years and you've kind of changed a little bit, you've grown, your focus, your priorities are different, you found somebody, you're in a relationship now, you're kind of a little more calm, you're settled down a little bit more, but they're still going to the clubs all the time.
Yeah.
You know, if you're my friend,
Yeah.
you're not going to shame me for that. You're not going to make me feel like, oh, whatever, like now you're in a relationship and now you never want to go out. No, like things are different. Things change.
Yeah.
And you should respect that. We're obviously still friends, but
Yeah.
it's
That's
not going to be...
it's very hard.
Your mindset
Mm-hmm.
is going to be everything. That's going to set the tone for your goals that you want to accomplish and how you do that, your relationships and how successful they are, your friendships, the people that you choose to surround yourself with.
And how you prioritize these things too.
And
like what is
yes.
the level of energy, what is the percentage of energy you're, you know, you can afford to...
Exactly. If you think of like in my mind, I'm thinking of like a pie chart.
Yes.
Right? Or like a
Literally.
pie graph. Yeah, literally thinking of that. And every little section all has to do or stems from your mindset, the love that you have for yourself.
Right,
If you don't love yourself and know that you deserve the best and know that, you know what, I'm beautiful regardless if you tell me or not, or you know what, I'm smart or I can accomplish this whether you tell me I can or not, and not letting other people dictate who you should be or how you should think about yourself, that all comes from your mindset. And it's not something that you just wake up with. It is something, especially as you're older, you have to, it's like a muscle. You have to work out. You work out your body, you have to work out your mind, and that could be feeding it the right things, by listening to, you know, motivational podcasts or self-help things, or just surrounding yourself with the right people. Not entertaining gossip, not watching the news so much.
Gossip.
Not, you know,
let's touch that one.
Yeah, but it's just it's all these things, like people don't realize, like you're a sponge, and every single day you things are coming at you. Different things, whether it's something on TV, the music you listen to, the people that you talk to. Like I'm very quick to, if I'm talking to somebody and they're going down a negative path, oh hold on, I got a call coming, I'll call you right back. Hang up, click.
100.
Because I don't want to absorb that, because that will indirectly, like you don't realize how that affects you
100%.
like over time. It's like just shit being piled onto you, and then you wonder why maybe you have a negative opinion about something or why you feel the way you do.
I'm
It's
so glad you said
important.
that.
Yeah, it's so important.
Like you need to have a filter, like a really thick filter
Yes.
between things, because what you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where somebody will say something to you and then all of a sudden you have a different opinion on something.
Yes.
Right? So it's all these, and you think it's like silly, right? You talk to one person maybe every day for 5 minutes. You meet this person every day at a coffee shop.
Yep.
And you just have like a 5-minute conversation, but they're always talking shit about
Right.
something, right?
Yeah.
It's always like some negative something. Eventually that 5-minute conversation turns into like 7, 10, 15. You know what I mean? Now every day for a half hour, you're soaking in this person's opinions, how they're like, what their their insecurities are, right?
They're bullshit.
Right, all 100%, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then so you're soaking this in, and right now you're thinking like, oh, it's not really like a big deal, but you know, if you compound this over years, right, of soaking in this perspective,
Yes.
your perspective 100% is going to change.
100%.
If you're around a group of people that are, let's say you've never even heard of yoga, right, ever, and you start hanging around people that are like obsessed with yoga, and all day all they talk about is like the benefits of yoga, and you know, the science behind why this does this, and you know, how your body responds, and you know, your lymphatic system, and like all this stuff, right?
Right.
All of a sudden you're like a guru on yoga,
Yep.
and I bet you within 6 months
You might try.
you're gonna be definitely doing yoga.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it compounds, right? It's like little things that compound, right? If you eat crap today, you're not gonna see a result immediately. That's
Right.
impossible. You're
Right.
not gonna see it tomorrow. You
Right.
might not even see it in 4 months.
Right.
But in a couple of years, yes, you're gonna see that.
Absolutely.
So the same thing compounds with positivity, right? So you
Yes.
read one self-help book and you're like, why am I not fixed?
Right.
No.
Doesn't work like that.
No.
Doesn't work like that.
You have to keep, it just has to become part of a habit. You need to, and the best way to do it is to swap out an old one for a new one.
Exactly.
You know, like just swap it out, and then that way, you know, your opinion will start, you know, evolve. And then as this happens, and as you start seeing the changes slowly, your filter just gets a little bit thicker because you're more aware
Right.
of the importance of your filter being there.
Exactly.
And then once you've actually sat down and you're like, oh, wow, this filter is like worth my life. You
Yep.
know, you put so much emphasis on this filter now, and it's like almost impossible to penetrate.
Right.
And
And that makes you even, not to cut you off, but
No.
makes you more solid in who you are.
Yep.
And you can stand your ground and you don't let anything shake you.
Mhm.
You really have to put in the effort and go out of your way to change that. You know, I know people that have bad habits, or their mental's kind of messed up and how they view things, and it's like they can't help themselves. But you have to actually put in that effort, and you have to want that for yourself. Love yourself enough to know that you deserve the best and you want the best, and also to be accountable for, hey, I'm not where I want to be in my life
Take
because of me.
responsibility.
Yeah, because of me. It has nothing to do with, you know, this person, my boss, my coworker, you know, this guy, this girl, whatever. If I don't have what I want in my life, 9 times out of 10 it's because of me. It's
Yeah.
maybe an action that I'm not doing, or maybe a thought that I'm having or a routine that I'm doing that's not working. You have to
Right.
make the adjustments. And
Yeah.
some people just get so comfortable with doing the same kind of shit.
It's
and being with
laziness.
it. It's laziness.
It's flat out laziness. It's
So-
like you're not willing to, you know, take the accountability. It's kind of like a pet peeve almost,
Yeah.
right? When people are just not like, oh, I was like, I don't know, I was a half hour late today.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Well, wake up earlier. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Story
like,
of my life. I'm horrible with time, and I need to make that a priority where, okay, if I know I want to be somewhere at a certain time, I have to work backwards to get better. But I got to work on that, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, that was like, that wasn't a job.
right? No, but it is something that I definitely have to work on. But that's me taking accountability for my shit. Like,
No, but-
I have a problem with my time.
Yeah, but it would be one thing though. But see,
Yeah.
it's the fact that you're like, I know I suck at this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not like you're blaming everything else around. That's my
Right.
point. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's not like it's, and that's just such a small like example of, but
Right.
on a grander scheme of things, like people do it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's like an irk. Like I'm gonna bring up a conversation that is, I hope this person does not watch this podcast.
Give them a different name.
Or X.
X.
Person X was supposed to be paying rent.
Okay.
This was a real life conversation I had. Okay.
Okay.
So, person X was a friend, and they were supposed to pay rent on the 1st, let's just say,
Mhm.
and they had to send it through like a Cash App or a Zelle, right?
Mhm.
This is how their landlord wanted them to pay the rent.
Right.
So they said it takes 3 days or 2 days for the money to transfer, so you're gonna get it on the 3rd. The landlord was upset about this. They had an argument. They were venting to me. I said, if you know that it takes 3 days to transfer, then you should be transferring it on the 28th.
Right. So it gets there on time.
The response was, why would I do that? They want it on the 1st. I'm going to send it on the 1st. This was a real answer.
Okay.
So I said, because this is a contract that you signed with your landlord.
Right.
You are bound by your word of honor.
Right.
Right? It sounds extreme, but
Right.
if you tell somebody your word, that's all you are worth.
Right.
You are worth your word, right? I told you that the rent will be due. It's due on this day. This is the day that it is due.
Yes.
This is not the day that it is meant for me to
Send it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? That's a clear difference.
Mm-hmm.
And person X was like, yeah, but why would I go out of my way to like make their life easier? That was the response, and I stopped the conversation. That sentence told me everything I need to know about your mentality.
Yep.
About, you know, how you view the world.
Yep.
How you think things operate.
Right.
You know, how you don't have like a respect for like law and rule.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To like a degree, like, and I don't mean like law, like, you know, like laws, like written down laws, but even though those still, right, there's a proper function for like, you know, flow. Right, to keep things in constant flow.
Right.
To keep things like in harmony.
Right.
You know, there's a process.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you're not going out of your way. And the fact that you believe that you are going out of your way, right, because you have to deliver it, it may be a little bit more difficult. Maybe you have to get the funds like quicker. But that was what you had agreed upon.
Yes.
If it was something that you couldn't agree upon, you should have said in the beginning, I could send it out on the 1st.
Right.
And then see how they felt about it. Don't rope them into a contract, you know what I'm saying, that they're not okay with, and now, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, it's just, where was I going with this? My point was this, right? Some people have this mentality, right, where they're just, it's like that. At what point are people not, and I don't want to use this, I'm going to be very careful with my words, because originally what I was going to say was, like, not savable.
Mm-hmm.
I think that everybody is savable. I believe that some people cannot be saved by me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
Yes.
a difference. At some point, there's a mindset that is just gonna take a lot more work to break through, and it's just how much energy, like, I don't know. At some point, these people you just can't have conversations with.
Right.
Where there's other people that are kind of like bouncing on the line, and you can be like, I can help like impact you and make a difference, and you know, help make the world better. But if you're one of these people that's just like, you're saying shit like that.
Yes.
You know, it's just like, to me, it's like,
that's wild.
You're a lost soul.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, somebody else needs to work on this, and it's a project. That is a full project.
Right, but even you, at a certain point, just, all right, cutting the conversation. That's your boundary, you know, no matter what I say or do, is not going to change them. I'm not going to waste my time and energy trying to explain why. It's like, oh, okay.
That was my filter.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do. Like you said, some people can be kind of saved, or you can maybe, like, change them a little bit, but people are so set in their ways. Other people just are who they are, they think how they think, and that's it. And it's not your job or my job or anyone's job to come in and save the day and show them the right way and whatever.
But I used to be like that. I used to be like, no, let me explain. Like, I used to want to show you the light. You know what I mean? And it would just like take so much.
Yes.
And I just lost maybe the passion for it.
Yeah, you kind of burn out from it. I used to be the exact same way, which is why now I'm so kind of black and white when it comes to like protecting my energy and my peace, and I'm very firm about that, because I was that same way where I tried for so long to show somebody a different way, try to change them. Maybe if I do this, they will, you know, be influenced by me, or maybe if I get them this or put up with this, then they'll realize how they're wrong or this or that.
Oh, that's the worst.
I did that for so long, and
especially the putting up with.
Yes.
To see if they'll if I just keep showing you how good and kind I am,
then you'll change. You'll stop doing what you're doing.
That's the worst. That's
it's awful. It's super unhealthy. But it was my fault for it's not. I can't blame that person. They are who they are. I chose to.
You needed that though. You needed that lesson.
But that's exactly why I am how I am now. Where I'm like, I don't got time for it. If you think the sky is purple,
it's purple.
It's purple, baby. Baby, it is purple.
It's every shade of purple.
Yes. You go and you have a nice day. It is purple. Like, I'm not going to sit there and explain, well, why do you think it's purple? Why do you think it's purple? It's clearly blue. Like, it's this shade of blue. You think that it's going to be purple, but why am I going to do that to myself? There's no point in doing that.
I'm so glad you said the sky is purple. And I'm about to take this conversation off topic.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
This is like, now we're getting into some weird, bizarre-ish. So, again, don't quote me on anything, actually, ever, that I say. So I saw a video, and this guy basically said So, and I mean, we know this, right? That animals, I'm saying very off topic, okay?
Yeah.
Animals can hear things that humans can't, right? They can hear like sounds. They know when you're about to have like a seizure or whatever.
Yeah.
They can also smell things that we can't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually a very wide spectrum on what we cannot hear and what other things can hear,
Yeah.
right? And there's also a wide spectrum of colors and things that we cannot see, right? That other things can see, and vice versa.
Okay.
So they brought into a perspective, basically saying that we're actually just walking through an imaginary version of what we believe like life to be, kind of, because there's sounds happening around us 24/7. Like plants could be emitting sounds, and trees can be literally having full like sonic conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just walking by, not connected to any of it. Like we don't hear anything. So like we can very well be walking through a universe that we're not we're not seeing or hearing.
We're living in the Matrix.
It's crazy though. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched this video, it was on TikTok.
Of course.
Yeah. And I watched it and I like paused it and I was like, for like 20 minutes, because I was like, it's so unreal to think that like another being right next to you could be having a 180 experience,
right,
from yours, like a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And we're both living on the same. We're sharing the same ball.
Yeah.
Having different experiences. You know,
It's a wild topic.
It's bizarre. Yeah, no, it's like
When you really sit there and think about it, even as how we view colors, like
right.
you and I.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, white, but your version of white might
could
be
be
different.
something different. Yeah. And then people that are
But we call it
colorblind,
white.
Yeah.
You could be seeing in your eyes red, but
Mhm.
you know
That's
is
white.
white.
Isn't that so trippy?
It's wild. It's wild when you really think about it.
Yeah. And we just
It's
adapt.
crazy.
It's our norm, right? We adapted to norm, and we just fall into like the routine of whatever it is. And
Yep.
we're kind of just like flowing through.
Yep.
And then it's just like bananas.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's definitely a.
And because you said purple sky, and I was like, girl, it could be.
It could be purple. We don't know.
Like, why are we? That man.
Why am
might
I
be
judging
right.
it? Yeah, you might be right, and I might be wrong. Like,
Right.
It's very, very. So that's why you say, "Oh, okay," and you just keep it moving
Right.
because
You don't know.
you don't know. Who am I to tell you? The purple is purple, baby, all day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So yeah, again, because everyone's. I mean, to piggyback off of that,
Right. Everybody has their truth.
everyone has their own perspectives on
Yes.
things, right?
Yeah.
And it's just respecting that.
Mhm.
And I mean, there obviously are going to be situations where someone is clearly in the wrong. Like
Right,
you're
yeah.
wrong. 10 people will tell you that.
Yeah.
But again, if you just have an open mind and realize,
Mm-hmm.
I'm firm in my truth, but I'm always going to be open-minded to somebody
Mhm.
else, even if it makes me look stupid, even if it makes it.
I feel like that's
you know?
okay, so long as that is good, so long as it like there's a line,
Yes.
and then once the line becomes like harming anybody else or hurting anybody else. Once
Right.
your opinion or things that you're doing is becoming like harmful to
Right.
somebody else, then I feel like,
Right.
there's a line, there's a brick line between like, what the are you like, now you need to get shaken. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you need to wake up.
Yep.
Everything under that is like whatever your opinion is, your opinion.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
but so long as you're not actually going out of your way to
Right.
cause,
Right.
karmic shit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
And people do that.
yeah.
People definitely do that. But no, I just don't know. I feel like it all kind of goes back to emotional and mental intelligence and
Mhm, mhm,
maturity
Yeah.
and just understanding that. It would definitely open up a lot of doors for them when they
Mhm.
understand that, you can't just always go based on how you feel about a situation. Those feelings, you're not wrong for having an emotion about something.
But you can't always,
But
you know,
you
it's
can't
like-
lead with that. You have
No.
to think about, like, there's an image that I'm thinking about that I think I have it saved on my phone actually, and it shows a brain and a heart, and do you
Mhm.
lead with logic or your heart?
Mhm.
And it would be interesting to see kind of what people do, but I tend to I think more logically.
Mhm.
There's things that have hurt me or that I don't like or whatever, but I sit and process it like, should I be mad about this?
Mhm.
Or is this a me thing? Or is this something I can kind of get past? Or
Right, like
whatever,
am I
maybe.
projecting some
Right.
things that maybe it might be a situation you're overthinking and you're just like, it's not even,
100%. That is the devil. Like overthinking is the worst because you're already creating this anxiety of something that probably doesn't exist.
Mhm.
You're thinking of all these different possibilities and maybe this is going on, and you're just creating that anxiety when really
Yeah.
probably 9 times out of 10
Yeah, it's
it's
in your head.
not at all what you think it is.
Yeah.
So
I was
you
talking
know-
to somebody the other day, and they said, "quote I've proven that I can't trust my own feelings." Unquote.
interesting.
And I kind of sat with that for a little bit, and I was like, So they don't react on their emotions because they've shown themselves, right? And you're your biggest lesson, right?
Right.
So if you look back on all the times that you've acted crazy,
Right.
was it warranted? Was
Right.
it? And then if you sit down and you go, well, no, like majority of the time it wasn't.
Right.
So you just proved to yourself that you cannot trust your own feelings. So why would you keep,
right,
like, why would you still allow this? Like, if this person keeps getting into a car accident every time they drive,
right,
why you keep letting this person drive? Maybe somebody else should drive.
right,
You know, and then lead with that first,
right,
and then, you know, reevaluate everything else. If because you're showing yourself,
right,
you know, you're like you're seeing, like, you're putting the numbers on the board. The numbers aren't, you know, numbers don't lie.
right. And if you just kind of sit for a minute and kind of understand why you felt how you felt, and then now you're saying, oh, I can't even really trust my feelings. Like, don't get me wrong, I think that it's okay to feel and to have emotion behind something, and
But sometimes it's usually sporadic.
it can be sporadic.
It's not that you don't trust it, it's that you don't trust it for, like, face value.
Right.
Right? It's
And,
like, oh, I'm angry right now.
right,
So
but
you just think you're angry.
But then you don't understand also why you're angry. 'Cause you
Right,
brought
yeah.
this up earlier about if someone's like a jealous person,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're a jealous person, first of all, why are you jealous? Like, why are you that type of way? What are you jealous for? Even if someone isn't, you know, so that person may not be doing anything to make you jealous, but you have this insecurity about yourself.
Right, yeah.
So you're going to react automatically.
Or it could very well be that person is making, because there
It could be
are
too.
situations where you're not
Absolutely.
a jealous person.
Absolutely.
However, the actions that this person is taking is causing you to
It's
become jealous.
It triggers you.
Yes.
So it's twofold. You have to understand, like, your triggers as well.
Mm.
You know, sometimes, that's what I'm saying, like, it's okay to feel, but then you kind of have to vet out, like, all right, am I feeling this because of
The importance of questioning
Yes.
your feeling.
Right.
Don't just feel, like, I mean, feel it, but
yes.
don't react on the feeling. Question it. It's okay to question it. Sit down.
It's okay, exactly, it's okay. When it's something like that, it's okay to question it. Don't overthink it and go down a rabbit hole of, okay, well, maybe it's this, and then, you know, 30 minutes later you're still thinking about it, but I think it's
and don't
important
fester on it.
Exactly. I've been guilty of that before, and
Mhm.
it's never really worked out for me because I create a situation that doesn't exist, and then I create stress on myself for no reason. So that's why I kind of tell myself, all right, if something bothers me, yeah, I want to bring it up, but I also have to think, like, why does this bother me real quick? Let me think about this, and is it even worth bringing up?
It's such a good practice
Yeah.
to getting to know who you are.
Right.
Back to, like, who am I?
Mhm.
Whatever. That's a really good point of it. That's why they say a lot of times, like, do things alone, travel by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when people say that and they're like, oh, but I'm gonna be bored or I'm gonna be lonely or whatever, the whole point, right, to do these things is so that you're not asking somebody, what do you want to do today? What do you want to go eat? You know what I mean? When you do things like without thought behind it, you're kind of really seeing what it is that you actually like to do, where it is that you actually like to go.
Right.
Things, and you start like just like, well, I don't have to accommodate anybody else around me.
Right.
What do I like? Like, if I
Right.
had $1 million in my pocket right now, what's the first thing I would do?
Right.
Who are you?
Right.
You know, like, figure that out. And then when you have emotions, right, sit down and ask the questions.
Right.
Ask, like, find yourself. And I
Right.
think that's a lot of, like, it's hard to love what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You can't love yourself properly if you haven't really done the thought work to sit down and, like, go through the process of, like, you know, why do I have these thoughts?
And
like,
back to my point, like I was saying before, a lot of people don't take the time to do that.
Right.
People don't actually, you know, try to really understand themselves.
Yeah.
And I've done this too, where, like, just because you are how you are doesn't mean that you can't change, doesn't mean that you're right. You know,
Right,
you
yeah,
could
yeah.
be, you know, into a certain habit or a certain way of thinking for so many years of your life,
Mhm.
and you think that that's a normal. Really, it's
Mhm.
not. Maybe I have to be open-minded and think it. The problem is when it comes to sitting down and processing things,
Right.
it's uncomfortable.
It
and
is.
It's not convenient, and
No.
you really have to
And it
face.
feels weird.
It does, and you have to really face a lot of your own demons and realize,
Mhm.
like, oh man, like.
Girl, I was in Chick-fil-A the other day having a meltdown because
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with somebody
Mm-hmm.
and I was triggered.
Right.
And then I was like, why?
Right.
So I, like, kind of put the phone down and I was just, like, processing myself.
Right.
And then I, like, take myself to the bathroom in Chick-fil-A. I'm having, like, a whole meta thought. And I'm like,
oh Lord.
I'm like, my mom did this to me. And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it like, it felt better because,
Right.
like, you know, once you actually, once you are able to identify the source, you strip it of its power.
Yes.
You know, like,
Yep.
it no longer has its power over you because now,
Right.
you know, you've unraveled it,
Yes.
kind of. You know what I'm saying? And it
Yeah.
sounds so, like, easy or, like, simple. It's not, obviously, because you have to actually sit and be willing to do, like, how weird does that sound? I was thinking, like, I was having, like, internal crises in a Chick-fil-A. Like, it sounds weird. But you have to be willing to, like, once the thought hits you,
Yep.
ride the train, you know, and then allow yourself to, like, open all the doors and
Right.
like go through it, like fully like kind of clean it out.
Yep.
And then it no longer has like this effect over you. It doesn't have this power over you.
Right.
Which is like super important.
You kind of just vet it out real quick.
Yeah.
And as you vet it out, it kind of just, like, you know how when you're talking, I'm thinking of like, you know, like if a comet is coming in, like it's coming to Earth, or a meteor, and all the pieces are kind of breaking up, and by the time it gets to Earth, it's like a little pebble.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
such a great, I love that.
yeah, so it's kind of like, you know,
That was like artsy and beautiful. I watched the comet.
Right? I'm picturing it in my head right now, coming down, and all the
Yeah.
pieces kind of breaking up, but by the time it gets here, it's nothing, right?
Right, yeah.
So if you just take the time to understand that, and just vet something out,
like,
and
it's
then
not that scary.
it's not that bad,
yeah.
and it's okay. It's okay to, like I said, it's okay to have feelings or emotions, or it's okay to get shaken up. Sometimes you need to be shaken to be aligned.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's important. All those types of feelings and those things that you kind of go through, those mental roadblocks, it's shaping you and it's helping you grow. You're learning about yourself, but it's also
I'm
putting
so sorry. I cannot catch this and that.
No, I actually saw it too, and it's gone, I think. But
Okay.
I feel like all of those things is putting us on our path of alignment of whatever journey that we're on, and I really, really believe that.
Me
Like,
too. Yeah.
I feel like I've gone through that with different things in my life, and when I look back, I'm like, okay, you can kind of like connect the dots on why
You
these
can
things
yeah.
happen. It's like,
Oh,
this happened because of this, which
I
brought me
yes,
here, and did this,
yes.
and now I'm here. Oh, I get it.
And I love that because
Yeah.
it's like you go through experiences and you go through some things sometimes and you're like, oh my god, this is like the worst thing I've ever been through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then once you get over that hump,
Right.
whatever it is that you got going on now, you kind of, if you really sit back and think about it, you would have never been able to navigate this new world
Yes.
if you hadn't
Gone through that.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, we all like, you know, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yes.
You know, like that whole thing.
Yes.
But it is. Every single, and it's just like people get so worked up every time, and it's just like, this is a great mindset to kind of like tap into, especially in business, right?
Yeah.
So it's like every time you go through like a really hard time, and you're like, oh my god, I'm at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, so I do coaching sales. December was a really rough month. It's December, right? This is my first time in coaching in the month of December. I'm experiencing this for the first time. And the entire month, I was like pulling my hair out because I was like, oh my god, like this is awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, this is cool though, right? Because now I was able to experience this low. I was able to like figure out how to move around this low. Now I know how to better prepare the next time it happens, and I know how to adjust. And, you know what I'm saying? But if I got, did I get? We're gonna name him Joey. He's with us now.
We're gonna name him Joey.
So, but like it's just like, so every time you can't look at something bad happening to you as like another bad thing that's happening to you.
Right.
It's literally like life is that way. Life is that it gives you the test and then you get the lesson. You know, like that's what it is. Like you have to go through the test. It just throws you in, and it's like, all right, cool. Now you went through this. What'd you learn?
There's gonna be peaks and lows all the time. You just have to.
You gotta fall in love with them. You have to fall in love with the low the same way.
And you have to appreciate the experiences you go through, because that's what helps you build that callus for life.
Yeah,
that's what's really gonna help you be stronger and be able to deal with things. And you know what? My bank account is fucked up right now, but you know what? I'm gonna get myself out of this, or whatever the situation may be, or my relationship is this, or my coworker is this, or my job, or my friendships, or my business is falling apart. But you know what? Instead of giving up, I'm gonna take this as a learning lesson and build this back up.
Right.
Adjust, because that's what you constantly have to be doing that in life, and you can't let those things. You know, you have to have. I'm also very you know, I believe in a higher power. So I always try to have faith. Like, all right, what is this trying to teach me? What is going on right now that I need to learn?
Yeah.
And just having faith and trusting the process that if I put in the work, if I have the right discipline, and if I stay focused, I'll get out of this.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I'm distracted by too many things, or if I don't have my healthy boundaries, if I'm letting other people pull from me and take from me, if I'm not protecting my energy, then
But you see how it's crazy.
It all ties in, because if I'm letting all this shit distract me, then I can't better myself.
And
I
you don't
can't
notice
focus on
how connected everything is, but
really don't.
They really are. So I actually put a post up on Instagram the other day, and my caption was about the law of correspondence. So like the law of attraction, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like that's the most popular one.
Right.
It's been mainstreamed. However, there's other laws, and the law of correspondence, is actually one of my favorites, because it states that whatever you have going on internally corresponds externally.
Totally.
Right? So if you are living in a life where like things are always going wrong,
yep.
right? Everything is always upside down, and like your bills are like you can never like you're literally just barely getting the bills paid, or your car is always getting towed, or like there's all these things, and it's just like, why the hell does this keep happening now? What's happening?
Yes.
You know what I mean? What is
yes.
happening?
Yep.
Because there's a direct correlation
mm-hmm.
between the two. Right, it's a pull. Whatever is happening inside is happening outside. So
yes.
even if you see people, right, their lives are like always in shambles, stay away.
Yeah.
Because that person needs work inside that either they're not addressing or acknowledging, or you know what I mean. And this goes back to the people with like the mindsets that are like, who's savable, who's not savable, right?
Right.
And sure enough, that person definitely is in shambles all the time.
And they just need their time.
They need their time. And which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to understand that that's like it's a relation, right? It's not just
right.
It's not just, your life, kind of everything is connected. And once you start getting into the flow of understanding that everything really does have this like intrinsic relationship.
It does.
You thrive.
Right. And it all stems from self-love. Mm-hmm. When you really love yourself, it's like when you got that good juju, when you have good energy, that's gonna radiate. Okay, that juju is everything, but it's gonna radiate into everything in your life.
100%.
Like you said, I noticed that there's people that like constantly have a fucking cloud over them because they're always the way that they look at every situation. Oh my god, this is so hard. Oh my god.
I hate complainers.
This bill's due. Oh my god, I gotta do this, and oh fuck, this broke in my house. It's like, oh my god, like
get it, just
get it,
yeah.
Figure it out. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you looking at everything so negatively? Yes, things suck, but what are you doing about it?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I've seen people have maybe the same situations happening, but their perspective on it is
completely different.
It's gonna be alright. I'm gonna figure it out, girl.
Right. Yeah.
Or I'm not gonna worry about it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it works out, but they just, I feel like what is going on inside, like you said, the love you have for yourself, the respect you have for yourself, all of that is going to translate to so many other things and going to radiate to other aspects of your life. And it all is connected. It all has to do it together. And if you back to what is this self-love, it's really knowing that you deserve the best and really wanting that for yourself.
You have to believe that.
You gotta believe it, regardless of your circumstances. Yeah. Just because I'm up, if I'm doing really, really well and I'm making all this money, I have to have the same kind of love for myself that I would if I was broke. I have to know, I'm still this amazing person. I have integrity. I deserve the best. I know things are going to get better. I just got to put in this work or got to do this. Like, you have to have that same love for yourself regardless of who you're around, regardless of your circumstances, of anything. And I feel like a lot of people too, that switches depending on the crowds that they surround themselves with. That's what they say, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're around if you're around 5 people that are always on the up and up and they're doing something and they're happy and you're probably going to be that way too. But if you're around people that are depressed, that can't get their shit together or whatever, and if you allow yourself to be too wrapped up in their lives or give them too much energy, what do you think's going to happen?
Right, yeah.
Right? You can still be friends with them and be cool, but keep them at arm's length. But again, people don't see those little actions and how they impact you long term.
And the conversations do make a difference, even if you're
big difference.
Like it's not enough to just like remove yourself physically, right?
Right.
Answering the phone to these conversations, right? So even when you said, right, like something breaks in the house and you're like, oh, I can't believe this broke, right? There's a clear difference between talking about how your day is and complaining about how your day is.
Right.
Right? Like acknowledging that things may not have been, the most positive for the day, but instead of fixating on why it went wrong, right? There's like I forgot the term, right? But there's a framework of thought where it's like you can for example, like a soccer player is playing soccer and he messes up somewhere on the field, right? He can sit here and fixate on how he messed up, or he can fixate on what could I have done if this situation, what would have changed the outcome, right? Instead of saying oh, I messed up because I did this,
right, versus
saying if I had done this, it might have went better. Those are two very different thoughts of tracks of thought, and just being able to switch where it's not like it's an additive thought where you're trying to add something new versus a thought where you're trying to take away what you did that was wrong. Don't take away what was wrong, add value to it. Yep. Right? And once you kind of oh, the phase broke and blah blah blah, now you're just stop.
Right.
How did it like, think of something else. And you're
Right.
like, oh, damn, I can't believe my vase broke. Maybe I shouldn't put it here.
Right.
I'm gonna go try to fix it and put it somewhere else.
Right. And then what are you gonna do about it? Action. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
yes.
People
Like, follow through.
Yeah, don't focus so much on what happened and oh my god and this and that and dwell on it.
No.
All right, what you gonna? Okay, I'm not gonna put the vase there anymore.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I'll go buy a new one.
Yeah.
Simple, done. Don't let it ruin
But
the
it's
rest of
just
your day.
like that little bit right there of, like, that changes a personality
It does.
entirely, because you can see
It
it in
does.
your conversations with people.
Yeah.
People that are like, they just like, they're complainers. Right?
Yes.
And it's just like, you have to learn how to and it's not something that you're not, I mean, some people are born like that, right?
Yeah.
Chances are, though, majority of people aren't, and you, like you said earlier, it's a practice.
Yes.
And you have to train that thought process. You have to think consciously, like, every time you catch yourself thinking that way, stop thinking in minus, start thinking in plus.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly,
Like, how
exactly.
do you switch it over? And once you keep doing it, it'll eventually become, like, involuntary. It'll just
It
happen.
becomes habit. Exactly. Exactly. Like anything else, you have to do something for a certain amount of time for it to become habit,
Yeah.
and then you just continue to make changes and adjustments to continue to grow, and that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that complicated, but I just feel like people like to make excuses, and it's uncomfortable to do those
Mhm.
things. So it's really on you to, again,
To make
love yourself
Yes.
enough to know you deserve the best. I deserve to be happy.
I feel like that was the topic of today's podcast.
Yeah,
Love
no,
yourself.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it leads to success in all aspects of
Of
your life.
course, yeah,
All
yeah.
aspects. It all bleeds into everything else, and
yeah.
you know,
Figure out who you want to be, figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Right? And then, back to, you can't love what you don't know, so you got to figure it out. And
Right.
then from figuring out who you are, you love yourself, and
Yes.
everything else. And then once you love yourself, right, you
Yes.
treat yourself like your kid. You love your kid. You
Yes.
don't want your kid to get hurt.
exactly.
That's what that actually means.
Right.
It's like, I love myself. Back up.
Yeah, protect yourself. Protect your energy.
Yeah.
Protect if you know
Mhm.
when something is not good for you. Whether you
Yeah.
want to make the changes or if
Mhm.
you want to actually, make the adjustments to
Mhm.
not be around it anymore
Mhm.
is on you. And sometimes it's not the easiest thing, but you
Mhm.
know when something's not good for you.
Right.
Good for
because
your
it is
soul.
a
Good for
level
your
of
mind.
self-respect.